I hated everything about it. I hated everything about it. I had a fear that, and this stupid fear probably lasted way too long. My dad was gonna like eat my mom's face off because of angel dust being laced in all the weed, and that was really it. I had a baby at 16. I was gonna be a cop and get all the weed off the street. My name's Alisha. I am 38 and I have Crohn's disease. How I started my cannabis journey and how I even got into it was because of the diagnosis. I think it was really more towards trying to find the more medicinal properties and values of an edible in this space that turned me to RSO. I was at an event, I was at a party, and at that point, I had already met a lot of people and tried a lot of different products, different things that I knew weren't going to be the best things for me, lots of sugar, lots of processed stuff. And I really knew I needed something more medicinal to help with what I was dealing with. Getting to talk to some people, someone pulled out some RSO and said, you should try this. It really helps with all these different things. I had never heard of it before. It looked crazy and black and in a syringe and scary, but I was like, well, if it's cannabis, I trust it. I'll go ahead and do it. And because I had the edible experience already, I felt really confident in taking a pretty large amount, but you really need just this tiny amount. And I was feeling pretty good for the rest of that event for sure. It was an effect that I never received from anything else in this, not from smoking, not from eating a different edible, even the 1-to-1s and some of the other ratios that are out there now. You really do feel all of you relax, everything just kind of fall into place, and you're hungry if you want to eat again. That was one of those things I was battling with Crohn's, is when to eat, what to eat, how to eat, if I was hungry and things of that nature. So it really just kind of set everything into balance, and you could feel it. And it was extremely sedating. That amount would not be recommended for a first timer at all, but really using it medicinally and getting it to be a daily regimen, I knew at that moment in time was like exactly what I wanted to do. I instantly started to research what RSO was, and all the different things that it could do right there at that event, just because I couldn't believe what I was feeling. And it took like 45 minutes, an hour to really take effect. So, and it lasted way longer than anything I had ever done. So I just felt like, wow, this could be, the fix. Let's see. We have obviously all these different intestines and the lower and the small, the big intestines. So as you eat, everything that we take in, our nutrition, it gets absorbed as you digest it. So there's different parts in my intestines, anybody that suffers from Crohn's, that is dying and doesn't absorb. So taking in food, taking in all these different things, you don't get to absorb them and actually benefit from the nutrition that you eat from anything that you intake. So that was also the case with cannabis. When I would be eating a bunch of different edibles and things of that nature, that was just, THC and some sugar and processed stuff. I wasn't getting what I really truly needed as somebody that legit had dying intestines. I graduated with flying colors in the DARE program, and I just would never, ever, ever touch it. Never thought about touching it. And it wasn't until Crohn's and getting to a point where I couldn't handle any of the side effects, any of the pills, any of the prescriptions that I was being placed on. And I called the one person I knew had weed, which was my pops, which was my dad. Always been a stoner my whole life. Hated it because, of course, Dare and everybody else told me I should, and I did. So one of those things I just never accepted that he did, and tried to forget that he was in the backyard getting high, because I was anti-weed so bad. In fact, everybody laughs at me now for being exactly where I'm at today. It's kind of funny. So I called him up and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't take another drink of this stuff they're giving me. I can't take another pill. What do I do? Like, where do I go? And so he came right over with an eighth of Jack Herrera and a pipe, because I had nothing, and a grinder and a lighter, and sat outside. And I was like, okay, well, where's the seeds? And he starts laughing. He's like, it's not like that. Because that's my first and only like memory, is watching my pops clean his weed with seeds and roll a joint, go out. You know, I never really personally saw anything wrong with it. It was truly what was being told I should, you know, listen to. So that's why I never touched it, never did anything my own self, until I really truly needed some kind of relief, and I was willing to do a drug. I was like, I'm willing to do anything at this point. I felt really guilty after I got really high with my dad, and first time ever, I felt really guilty as a mom, as a person, as somebody that's always said this was the worst thing you could do for yourself, and judged everyone around me and everybody that did it. And so I felt, in order to justify what I was doing to obviously feel better, because I was feeling better as I smoked, I felt great, and I was feeling guiltier and guiltier that I could like eat again, and I could mom really well, and I could laugh and like hang out, and like I wasn't having this horrible pain in my stomach, but I also had this horrendous guilt, and CPS was going to take my kids, and I just really didn't know what to do. So to counteract my own guilt, I started to research exactly what cannabis was. And I wanted to know, as I started to smoke it, what brain cells I'm going to kill, how much I'm going to, and when I'm going to die, how many people have overdosed, like the legit things. And it's funny, because as a 3-year-old woman really looking into it, I felt silly, having not educated myself sooner. Little did I know that none of those things that we were all taught in, elementary school are true. And the unfortunate thing is that everybody around me, including myself, that were trying to benefit from it, were judged, were, missed out on jobs, missed out on really important things, been crucified. And I was one of those people. So I felt, in order to, get that out there, I needed to be a little bit more vocal and have the information about what really cannabis can do. And as somebody that had now a platform and Crohn's disease, I turned into a platform to share that we have, this fantastic plant that, has an amazing benefits medicinally, and it's because of our own physiology, what we have going on in our body, the receptors, and all the cannabinoids and the different things that the plant makes. So, knowing that, I was able to, smoke another joint and do a little bit more and feel a little bit better. But I truly feel like, cannabis saved my life, and all of it. And when it came to finding RSO, that in itself was the holy grail, because you got the entire plant, all the plant matter, everything that matters in the plant, instead of picking it apart like what you kind of see on the market now. It's cannabis works better as a whole versus the sum of its parts. And we have destroyed that and made it what it is today. And really, RSO is the like I said, the holy grail. I don't know. It's the one, it saved my life. I don't go a day without it. It's truly one of those things that you shouldn't, obviously, we know, be putting anything in our lungs besides oxygen. And RSO, you get the benefits of everything that the plant has to offer without destroying or doing any kind of damage to the other organs and things that you have. as someone with Crohn's, smoking does irritate your stomach, and it does kind of, what did my doctor say? It kind of takes the lining off of the stomach or something like that. So it causes a little bit of damage. Not that it's the worst thing in the world, but there is so many other benefits that you could do. And when I found RSO, I knew that was the one versus actually smoking. I take probably about maybe a half gram a day. And then, so I probably go through 3 full grams in a week. That's probably about what my regimen is. I've found that if I take it smaller amounts throughout the day versus one big amount, it's less euphoric. It's a little bit more less psychoactive, and it's a little bit more uplifting versus sedating, just depending on how bad my symptoms are feeling or how I'm feeling. I might take that larger amount, but usually I go like 2 to 3 times a day and break that amount up throughout the day. I just get usually one of my vitamins that I have, and since we all start with that grain of rice size that they recommend, I was able to actually get a grain of rice and measure it out on there. So now I'm able to kind of like measure it out a little bit better on my, vitamin C pill that's pretty big. So it works out that way. And then I just swallow it. Also, when Crohn's is at its worst, because again, your intestines aren't absorbing anything that you're putting in, I started to look into making my own suppositories. So I was buying suppositories at the Dispo, which are extremely expensive, but they're also just made with a distillate. It's just pure THC and coconut oil, or whatever product to keep it together. So after looking into it, reading a few different articles on how to make it, I started to make my own using RSO. So again, I have the whole plant versus just the THC, because I'm not trying to just be high. I want everything. Oh God, just pills upon pills. I would definitely have a colostomy bag, oh my God, right now, and living a day-to-day life like that with missing intestines and a colostomy bag. I think that was what scared me the most. That's what I think was like, oh my God, I'm willing to do anything. I'm willing to try anything, do anything to avoid that altogether. So when I think of what my life would have been if I never would have called my dad, if I never would have tried anything, an RSO, I think it would be a really sad situation with a lot of pills, doctors, and surgeries. And that quality of life scared me to death. Or the lack thereof. It's a lot of it's a lot of pain stomach wise. And I can go and work and function and all that, but it truly is how I get out of bed. It's how I know the pain that I wake up to, what the night was like if, not eating and eating the wrong things and eating the right things and having just a flare up, all those things. Sometimes my menstrual cycle activates it. It's just one of those things that my body will go into I guess I feel like I want to go back. What is it? Remission is what they call it. But where I'm in remission and I go back to an active status of having Crohn's. So when I don't have my RSO, I can feel that I'm going to start getting into a phase of being active again with my symptoms and all those different things that I avoid every day by taking it and not taking it. Being a mom of 5, just the whole process of being pregnant 4 times. I have twins, so 4 pregnancies, 5 kids. being pregnant 4 different times, you change. Your whole body changes. Your life changes, obviously, but your physiology changes. You never go back to being what you were. And that's mentally. I feel like a big thing mentally. I also, on top of fighting the Crohn's disease, I was fighting depression, anxiety, having twins and now 5 kids, and all the life-changing things physically, emotionally. And then being diagnosed with Crohn's, I just didn't think there was really room for me on this planet. Really, there wasn't. And when I started taking RSO more so than just smoking cannabis, I felt again that balance. I just felt really okay with everything. Like there is no use crying over the spilled milk. I know that's the stupidest thing, but really there's 5 kids in the house. There's going to be spilled milk, legit. But I also have 2 cats and they like milk. So it all works out great. Like there's just no reason to, freak out, cry and think this is the end of the world. But I was already at that point. Of course, I went to see help and was on 2 different antidepressants and a fast actor. So not only did RSO take the place of my Crohn's disease, but it also took the place of the fast actor like a Valium or any other benzoy or anything else that I was prescribed. And it was all in one. It's all encompassed in one thing. And it's all something that we benefit from. I'm not counteracting, my own feelings. I'm not fighting anything. I'm not just putting them to bed with a pill and then waking up to the same things. I'm actually a little bit more present, realizing that spilled milk's still going to happen and it's not the end of the world. And I really did get that again when I took the RSO on that daily regimen for just the Crohn's disease. It came to me that I'm not taking any fast actors. I haven't taken them in, a month. I haven't, and it's because I started this RSO regimen. I haven't taken any of these other ones in, 3 months. It really did open my eyes to how beneficial it was for just the day-to-day, being less stressed and anxiety and momming and life and work and everything else. And then it was also, I felt like making me a better person on the inside because of my Crohn's. Honestly, it can be used for something as small as like a daily vitamin with a tiny drop. You really don't even need that. If you don't want to be euphoric, if you don't want to be high, if you don't want to have any of those things, but you want to introduce cannabinoids because we make cannabinoids. Again, going back to, I needed to find out this research. I needed to know exactly what I was doing with my body. As I was getting high, I wanted to know like what I was actually doing. Again, we have an entire system of physiology, the endocannabinoid system. And as I was introducing RSO and the phytocannabinoids that the plant makes, the endogenous ones inside were activating and being more receptive to what we naturally can make. And I felt like since everybody has we all have this system of physiology, we could all benefit from the phytocannabinoids. Since the cannabis plant makes the most abundant cannabinoids, broccoli does and chocolate does, but you eat enough chocolate, you'll get diabetes before you get the same amount of cannabinoids you can get from RSO. And again, the plant has so many different cannabinoids that you're getting way more than just THC. You're getting all of the other ones, and those are the ones that are the mood stabilizers, the ones that are the, zero in on that paper so you can get done. It's not just THC, it's everything else, and RSO has that. So everybody everyone deserves RSO. Everyone should have at least the tiniest amount of RSO on the daily. It definitely, as somebody that takes it for really what I do, and taking it in the different ways, I needed a company and a brand that was going to be extremely transparent. So third-party testing is the only way I can safely know and say that I'm willing to put this in my body. I'm willing to, smoke it, eat it, ingest it, put it on my skin. I mean, there's so many different ways you use it. So it has to be 100% safe. It can't have anything extra in it, especially when we're sitting here saying, I'm trying to treat Crohn's disease. I'm trying to treat or help combat the symptoms of these different things. And then you're worried about pesticides and where the start of the product came from. And, if someone's cooking it down in their bathroom and selling it because, it's the wild, wild west. And I feel like third-party testing is the best way to see exactly where you're getting your meds. I am well aware of what prescriptions are prescribed to me, and you can go on the internet now and see everything is in it. And you should be able to do that. And I love that brands now, and before, the ones that didn't have to but did are really the ones that I knew I was going to commit with, because the brands that tested way before the laws were making them test are the brands that wanted you to see how valuable that their product was. So those were the ones that I really found here to be the ones that I gravitated towards and the best. As you can see, I have a passion for cannabis and the actual knowledge and the science behind it and how it works in our body. Because I think that is the most important thing, is that when we unlearn everything that we think we know, like I did, and we actually take just a couple minutes to realize that, this is something that is beneficial. It isn't scary. RSO isn't scary. Cannabis isn't scary. It's not going to, it's not the end all be all. You're not going to start doing anything else. It's none of those things. It's actually quite the opposite. But we just have to unlearn everything. We have to decriminalize the word. You got to look at it differently. You have to change your mind. You can't say I'm going to use it as a medicine, but also, be, very much in the closet, if you will, about it. And I feel like me being a little more vocal, especially since I have a platform and talking about Crohn's, does help other people to be more comfortable in trying different things. So if I get a mom to try a little bit of weed instead of wine, I'm actually all for that. I'm all for that.